Oh yeah, big time. Oh, big time. Well, anyway, I was gonna make a video on this, but it's just way too intricate for a how-to. Wouldn't be good for a do-it-yourselfer, really. This is it's expert level. Not tooting horns or anything here. It's expert level. And that is because these are horrible to work on. This is an om642 diesel and a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's 2008. We're replacing oil cooler gaskets, which is right underneath that oil cooler. Turbo pedestal mounts there, and then your turbo mounts on top of that. Of course, bolts to your inlets, your outlet over there. And yeah, so we got some other things to do over in here, like clean these ports up. They're kind of crusty. They're not too bad, actually. The EGR cooler all seems to be working really well, so it's not plugged up or anything. I was impressed with that. Of course, I just got a rubber cap. That's your oil feed to the turbo. And that's the drain, so of course they're blocked off. It's another thing with these jobs, you got to make sure you get the valley really clean. So this is after cleaning it 2 or 3 times. I got 2 or 3 cans of brake clean through here, and I'm going to go through it again with the shop vac and compressed air, just to make sure I get absolutely everything out of there. And then we're going to plug off the ports and kind of whatever else could possibly fall into there. And then pull out an oil cooler, change the seals, I'll get it back down, and that'll be it for the day today. So then I got to clean up. Here's the intake. Get my swirl flaps. Of course, they're not functional anymore, but because the swirl flap motor's junk. And normally a lot of guys pull these out and have them welded, have the intakes welded up where the shafts run through here. I don't think I'm going to bother with that. I really don't have time to do it, but what I think I'm going to do is, once I get them all cleaned up and everything, I'll probably epoxy these in the open position and just secure them, etc., etc. Of course, this side has them too. That's the main intake, and that's part of the air box. But yeah, it connects to the front here and here. They go together, obviously. And yeah, so that's what I'm up to this weekend. Hopefully have a good chunk of it kind of wrapped up and start getting it back together tomorrow, and I'll have to finish it next weekend or something. But it's a big job. These are a lot of work. And then down here, here's your oil filter housing. Of course, it's all covered with tools and hoses and stuff draping over it right now. But there's your oil filter housing. I have new gaskets for right there, and also down there where it actually attaches to the engine block, because they're known to leak, and I think it does leak a little bit. But my biggest leak on this was actually on the turbo pedestal gasket. I didn't know that. I thought it was all oil cooler, but it seems like the oil cooler is also leaking. It's also never been apart before. It's got 330,000 K on it, I think, and those oil cooler seals, they fail well before that. So I mean, we're in here anyways, we're gonna do it. I'll know as soon as I get it unbolted. The OEM ones were brown, and the revised replacement ones that are more better are purple. So we're gonna do that, get that swapped out, and I guess I'll record that just to see. You guys can see it with me. I'll get it unbolted here, and then we'll lift it off and kind of keep cleaning all this stuff up. I was using flammable brake clean because it's the best kind, and then also my method for getting the carbon out of diesel runners, like cylinder heads and also those intake manifolds, is fire. Acetylene torch works the best. It's quick and easy, and it works really well. So we're going to do that, but obviously this thing's going to have to off gas for a while before we do that, because we don't need any fires around here. I mean, it could burn to the ground. It is insured. I don't think I'd really be all that upset about it, but then again, I kind of needed this thing because this is what pulls my trailers, all my big trailers. So yeah, because that's what it's set up for. Anywho, let me get this unbolted, and we'll find out together. All right, I have not lifted it yet. I got all the bolts out, and it is loosey-goosey. So we're going to find out together whether or not it's been done before. I'm saying it hasn't, because it doesn't seem like this engine's ever been opened up, especially how how insanely tight all the bolts were, like how horrible it was getting the turbo off. It was just ridiculous. There's a few things that really I don't think anybody, even a good tech, would have put back, to be honest with you. I usually put everything back, but you never know. There may be one or two little things that we just kind of go, yeah, nah. But probably not, because then I won't sleep right. So who knows? If somebody has done the oil cooler seals on this thing, then that'll be, you know, maybe they're the same way. But yeah. As far as like a customer's vehicle goes, I could see definitely some things being not touched. But yeah, the only gasket I didn't get with all this crap too is right here on the downpipe out of the turbo. And it's because they're like, well, you don't really need to replace that one. Well, yeah, you do, because it'll leak. Like, guaranteed. Anyway, moment of truth. Original. See how they're orange? The replacements are purple, so definitely original. All right, well, now I gotta quickly vac this up. Wah. All right, I am going to, of course, I leaned right on the fucking oil cooler, because why wouldn't I? I'm going to keep cleaning this up here. It was very important that you kind of get that stuff vacuumed up real quick. You don't want coolant running down the oil side, which is on that side. That's oil, that's oil, that's coolant, that's coolant. So, of course, you don't want coolant running down the oil side. And of course, before I started this entire project, because you have coolant running through your cylinder heads and the intake manifolds as well, I did drain the coolant as low as it would go with the drain in the rad. And I really haven't lost very much at all. When I pulled off the intakes, there was like just kind of a little bit of residual sitting in there. And of course, when I pulled that off, yeah, as you've seen, there was virtually none, which is good, just a little bit. But I'm going to keep cleaning this up. And of course, when this is all back together too, before you even start it, you drain the oil real well and fill it with fresh oil. You can just use regular generic oil, and which is all I'm going to do. Run it for a few minutes, and then we'll leave the filter and everything in there. And then we'll get her kind of not hot, but like warm-ish as soon as the temp gauge kind of starts to move. And then you can drop that oil out, flush it, and then put in your proper diesel synthetic that this thing calls for. And yeah, well, there you go. You can keep cleaning up. We'll get the new gaskets in there. There we go. There's the purples. Got that all cleaned up. Just took a razor blade and kind of made sure there's nothing around the holes. Re-vacuumed it again, and we should be good. There should be nothing down there. Should be good to go. So I'm going to get this back, set this back down, bolt it down. All we're going to do is snug the bolts up and then just kind of cross torque it until they're all tight. I don't actually have a torque spec for it, but whatever. So I'm going to use both hands for that, and then we'll go. All right, she's all torqued down to inch pounds, and yeah. So here's the old cooler gaskets, and they're still actually quite pliable. They're not hard like they normally get, which is what causes them to leak. These ones are still quite pliable. They were leaking a little bit. I could see a little bit of oil leakage under there, but I think the biggest culprit was that right there, the turbo pedestal. But anyways, we're in there, so obviously we're going to change them. We've got revised versions of all of these gaskets so that we never have to deal with this garbage again. What I'm using for gaskets is OE equipment, which is this L-ring, and yeah, so there's a bunch of the hard gaskets. You got your turbo pedestal. There's a couple of those for some reason. I'm not too sure why, because the top and bottom ones are different. That's the one of the turbo on the back of the housing here, right there. There's of course the turbo. This one's in there. I'm not going to replace it because I don't think we have a need to. I believe that's this one here. Yeah, that'll be the one there. But I don't want to take it all apart. It's not leaking. I don't think there's a point to doing it. We don't have any problems, so we're just going to leave that one alone. But that's that. There's the two flanges, the two intake gaskets. That's basically that. As far as right now goes, right meow, the one they didn't send, that one, that's the one that I really wanted to have, but it's not there. I'm not too sure why they don't include that. Probably because it's a generic kit and it would be different for the Mercedes application vehicles. Obviously that's going to be different for Jeep, so that's probably why. Anyway, I got a Mopar dealer literally about a minute and a half down the street from me, so I'll go in tomorrow morning, grab one, and we'll continue kind of reversing the procedures here now. Might do these gaskets actually beforehand while I got everything kind of out of the way. But yeah, that's that. There's the good old water pump. I have a new one of those too, but I don't think I'm going to bother with it. I don't think I need it. I'm sure that's been replaced in the 320,000 or 330,000 K that this thing has on it. I don't know though, but I would imagine so. But just goes to show you, regular good routine maintenance, you know. Premature oil changes would be good for this too. But anyways, we're not gonna have to worry about any of that once we're back together. That's it for now. Cheers and friggin' beers, boys.